Well, good morning, guys. Backyard scrapping here. Here is our boards. We went a thrifting, and looky what we got. We got us an old hotel pan. Stainless steel, perfect for using with our caustic soda or nitric acid or anything else, and it ain't glass. It won't break. So, I've got that on our little... Actually, this was my old camping thing. I used to take camping, but we actually have our little home camp. It's kind of a mess out there right now set up, but it is camper, and it's got a stove and all the conveniences of home. So I swiped my old camping on the ground tent thing that we've rarely used and brought it out here to use for a warmer. So anyway, we're going to let this heat up a little bit. Then we're going to put us some lye, caustic soda, sodium hydroxide, whatever you choose to call it in there. And we are going to get started on our boards. So we will be back at you in just a few minutes. Okay, everybody, our water is warming up. I just wanted to show you what we're going to be using today. This is... I do have some Red Devil lye inside, but this is 100%. This is if you can't find it anywhere, just look for drain cleaners that are sodium hydroxide. This is 100% lye, and if you see right here, it says 100% sodium hydroxide caustic soda. So you want to make sure that this is, you know, when you're getting this stuff, that you're not getting something that's mixed up. You know, that you're just getting the pure sodium hydroxide. So that, I don't know where I got it, at one of the big hardwares. But anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and add some to this water. Then I'm going to put some gloves on, because we are going to be playing with this stuff and I don't want to get burned. Just remember, add this stuff slow, and this will burn you as bad as acid. So don't think just because it's not an acid that it's not going to burn you. It is very corrosive. So that's probably a couple, 3 tablespoons. I'm going to just put a little more. I mean, I know it's not supposed to take that much, but I don't want to do this twice. And like I said, I'm going to go ahead and put some rubber gloves on when we get started on this. I'm actually going to let this heat up a little bit. I've got a bucket over here with rinse water in it, and ideally plastic tongs would have been nice, but I've got me a set of stainless steel tongs as well. So once this warms up a little bit more, we're going to go ahead and put our boards in, and we'll get back at you when we're doing that. Okay guys, a few more minutes has passed, and we are getting a little steam off of our top of our water now. So I'm going to go ahead and start adding the boards. The lye or caustic soda doesn't really have any bad vapors or fumes, but you still don't want to stick your face over anything and breathe it in directly. So if it starts making too many fumes, I'm just going to turn the back fan on, but right now we don't need it. So I'm just going to stick these guys in, and definitely wear your gloves. Don't take this stuff lightly, because it will burn you. And you know, they say 8-10 minutes, you know, on a simmer. We're just going to take as long as it takes. So I really don't care how many minutes it takes. And there's our nice biggies. Hopefully this will work pretty fast, and I'm hoping it really. I'm really hoping it takes that sticky glue mess off of a lot of this stuff. This stuff right here. See how that's stuck? So hopefully that sodium hydroxide will deal with that. Be careful not to splash yourself. You know, dropping this in, you may get little tiny splashes that you don't even see. Another thing I like, this pan is high-sided, so it kind of protects you. And we're gonna peel some solder mask off and see what we can get. Okay guys, I'm actually going to let this go for a while until I start seeing something happen, so we'll get back at you in a few. Okay guys, just touching base with you. Be patient with this stuff, because from what I can see right now, I mean, I've seen a couple, most of the time I've scraped these or just put them in hydrochloric acid and just let them go. But I do want to see what is underneath a lot of this stuff. I see some videos out there where people are saying, no, about 10 minutes, 8 minutes, whatever. Just let it go till it's done. I mean, I'm about 15 minutes in. I'm trying to keep it just below a simmer, and it's just now starting to come off of the Sound Blaster board. So let me put a glove on, and I want to hold it up and show it to you. But just be patient with it, you know, don't rush it. You've got, you know, if you're doing this, you probably have the time to do it. So, but I wanted to show you that it is starting to demask that board. In fact, quite a bit of this is starting to come off. And so just, like I said, take your time. Don't worry about it. Don't rush it. Let it do its thing. And again, be careful, because this stuff it's kind of like working with sulfuric acid in reverse. You know, it'll burn you about the same way. But anyhow, I'm going to let this go. Just keep an eye. I don't want it to be a rolling boil or even a bubbling simmer. I just want it right at the edge of that. So I'm seeing some green mass starting to float around in there. So we know it's working on the Sound Blaster boards. So we will get back at you in a little bit. I just wanted to show you that right quick. So we'll be back in a few. Okay guys, we're going to do just a little bit of scraping. Seems like the ones naturally underneath on the bottom are doing better. So we are going to just, got a helicopter or something going by. We're going to pick this up and just do some light brushing on it. I forgot I did something wrong there. I was actually going back and forth on my brushing, and you really don't want to do that. You want to brush in one direction away from you. It's just been a while since I did anything like this, because I've been not seeing too many of these boards around anymore. Let's see what we can get on the other side. That's, as you can see, it's starting to come off pretty good. And like I said, there's no rush on this, and there's no specific time. You know, I mean, when it's done, it's done. No big deal. You know, I mean, just because somebody says, oh, it's supposed to be 8 minutes or it's supposed to be 10 minutes. I found a lot of that is just, hey, it's a matter of what stuff you're dealing with and what you're doing. You know, you may get lucky and get stuff that takes 8 or 10 minutes. You may get stuff that takes an hour. What difference does it make? And you don't have to clean this out and start with fresh caustic soda or, you know, lye to make this work faster. Yeah, in a little while, if it gets a lot of, you know, discoloration in it or something, I will go ahead and dump it in the waste bucket, because I'm going to use the soda to neutralize my acid bucket anyway. So this kind of kills two birds with one stone. But just, you know, take your time, let it happen. As you can see on this side, you know, this one's, some of them, this one's almost done. See, we almost got a full, completely gold-plated board, cleaned off. But now yet this, let me see if I can get a hold of one of these little guys. I don't think this guy is doing anything yet, so. Oh, no, I can't catch one. There, see that? Now you see this one? This one is just flash plating. There's just that little bit of plating, the rest of that is copper. And that's what I was talking about earlier. On the newer stuff, you're going to see a lot of this. See, that whole touchpad is copper. So, and that's alright. We have a border around it that's gold. We have a little bit of gold plating in between. So there's still gold on it, it's just not near as much as a full plated board. What they've done is they've actually lined little lines going straight down, I guess, and then connected the copper to that to keep from spending the money on the gold. But obviously these ones on the bottom are doing a lot better than, let me get this adjusted. You know, the heat's getting to them more, so let's see if I can get, this is one I was, see, this has got that goopy stuff on it, and I don't know if that's going to work. So let's put him on the bottom, see if we can get him coming loose. Let me spray these off and just let this sit a little while longer. Like I said, I'm not in any hurry. I want them to get cleaned off good, so we'll just let them go for a while more. And we'll be back at you in a few. Okay guys, we are back. What we're going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and fill up my rinse water. And we're going to start going through these and see which ones we can take out. You know, if they're just copper or whatever, there's no point in leaving them in there. And see if we can clean any of the other ones up. But I'm going to need my rinse bottle. Also, I have a bucket of water over here. After I spray them off, we are going to put them in that bucket of water to soak too, to make sure we get all that lye off of them. So let me get a hold of one of these. Well, that's working pretty good. Still needs to be in there a little bit more. One direction, Dean. Remember that. One direction. And do it away from you. You don't want to get splashed with this stuff. And turn this around. Do the other side a little bit. Yeah, that's nice when it just rolls up and comes off like that. So this one is actually going to need to stay a little bit longer. So I'm going to stand it up for a minute over here, out of this, off to the side and out of the way. Let's check this one out. This one's looking really good. I'm thinking this one's just about done. Just about there on that one. And that is actually some pretty pretty heavy plating on there. I'm pretty impressed with this. These Sound Blaster boards, they are very nice. Put these other big ones up here. Let's see if I can get a hold of that. Very nice plating on these. I actually should have taken that label off before I started doing this, so I'm going to have to rinse it and put it back in there. It's amazing it takes the solder mask off with the labels it has a problem with. And yes, once again, this is a lot of work, but you know, you got to enjoy doing it, that's all. Okay, so we're going to transfer that one over here. I want to keep these standing up. When you do this, make sure you keep your tongs standing up, because otherwise stuff is going to run down inside that handle and it's going to get on you and you're not going to know it. Okay, so if you remember right, that was that brown Sound Blaster board, or one of them, and you can see that that is full gold plate. That is exactly what we are looking for. So I am going to just leave this soak in this bucket, and we're going to take out any more that we can take out. Okay guys, I have done the first cleanup. I'm not going to show you the boards yet, but I still have a few boards in here that were a little stubborn, and as you can see, this is one of the mouse boards. It is a full gold plate board, but the lye, or the sodium hydroxide, did not work very well on this sticky part. This is where they actually stick the mouse to the plastic on the board that you actually touch. So I've got, I don't know, 4 or 5 of these that are like this, so I am going to have to peel this off like I'm doing here and put them in to finish getting that mask off of them. But I just wanted to touch base with you for a second and show you that. So I'm going to let this continue on. I'm going to get this stuff off, this sticky stuff off of these, and throw them in there and let them go, and then we will get back at you in a bit. Okay guys, we are back inside. We have everything done except for one board. As you can see, let me pull back here and I'll be still for a second, because I'm going to put a comparison picture up what we started with and what we got. Like I said, as you can see, we have all that full plate boards, and then we have some partial plate boards. Now real quick, I'm going to show you a few things. I mean, like, as you can see, these are all beautifully gold plated. And I hear all kind of rumors about stuff, but you know, like, this is not worth doing and whatever. But you know, some people think stuff's not worth doing because they aren't making a fortune on it instantly. Personally, any gold I keep out of the landfill, I'm very pleased with. So I want to show you something here. These are the partial plated boards. This it actually had quite a lot of gold on it, but all we have to do is get the solder mask off the gold itself. Don't have to get it off the whole board, we just have to get it off the gold. So you can see there's quite a bit of gold that was on these boards. These 2 boards right here that I'm going to show you now are made by the same company. I don't know if you can see this, but these little markings. But this is actually a transition time, because you see this mark and this mark. Now on this one they came off somewhat, but you can see that the marks are still there and they're the same. And you can also see my reflection with the camera, And this is a full plated gold board, made exactly the same way with exactly the same connections, but as you can see, this one is partial plate. It's just the edge, the little bit around that silicon diode that's under there, this little plate here of plated gold, and then naturally all around the border is a fine line of gold, but this is all copper. So this probably, I mean, they're made by the same company, they're the same exact layout, they had exactly the same thing on them, right down to these little pinpoints, where on here they're gold on copper and here they're gold on gold. So that goes to show you how they, just in a short period of time, managed to quit using all of that gold and just got down to this little bit of plating. This particular one I think is also a transition board. Most of the time, once I know that they're not fully gold plated, which I usually know before I even do this, I just did this to show you the copper, how it looks, the difference between the gold and the copper. So you can see the gold here, and on here you can really see it, but you know, this also has a border of gold, a bunch of pinhole gold. It's got some gold here, and then this part here. But the rest of it, except for, and this is how I can tell this is also a transition time or transition piece, is because in between each of these lines going up is gold plated. It's not just copper. So this was kind of in a transition period of time as well, where you move up into, say, something like this one. I didn't leave it to take the rest of the mask off because the back is all copper. It just has these pieces here that are gold plated, along with these, which are basically the same. So I wasn't going to waste my time trying to clean them up. I just wanted to show you, you know, the copper versus the gold. You can definitely see the difference between the gold and the copper. This little guy here is the same. This is probably also a transition one because the gold border is a lot heavier, and it's heavier on this side. Also, this is a heavier plating here. These little guys are the camera ones, and it's mixed up. This is probably the best one to show you the gold plating versus the copper, but all of these are a little bit mixed up. This is a little harder to see, but there's gold plating throughout and copper throughout. So these, I just usually leave them like they are and process them out. This guy has this gold pad here and some gold pads down here, and basically these are just some boards with what I would normally cut out and put in that bag I showed you in the first video. I would just cut this gold off because they're all solid copper boards. So that kind of wraps it up. Like I said, this is all copper with just some plating. So what I'll do with this stuff, except for these little ones because it's all kind of mixed up, and this is really just a bunch of gold plating on a cheap board. This is actually not an expensive board, but it's got some decent plating on it, and I don't have to worry about too much copper on this plate or on these boards. So I'll process those like they are. These I will actually trim out and put in my trim bag. I'll leave these alone, and I'll trim these out and I'll leave these alone. There's actually one more board out there. Earlier I talked about taking that, you know, that sticky stuff off where they have it attached to the plastic. Just for the heck of it, I left it on one of them just to see how long it would take for that to come off. And we are on about hour 4 right now, and it's still not off. So it's probably a good idea to go ahead and remove this, you know, that real sticky stuff first, and just get rid of it because it saves you a bunch of time. I mean, if you don't care and you want to leave your little hot plate on and, you know, and just leave it out there until it's gone, I mean, you can do that too. But anyway, I will not process these right now because I want to save them up till I get some more of them. But there we go. That's what the stuff looks like after you've demasked it. And You know, like I said, I've seen a lot of people say, oh, these aren't worth processing and they aren't worth doing, but I see a lot of people saying a lot of stuff isn't worth processing and it's not worth the time. Well, I don't care about the time. This is my hobby. I love doing it, and it's free gold no matter what, even if I have to work for it. So, alrighty guys, I hope you enjoyed this little mini series, and we will get back to you all in the next video.